I'll give you a little bit of information before we start. And that's how to respond when I say good afternoon to you. You'll be able to return with a loud and cheerful good afternoon, sir. So, good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon.
Very good. Coordination might have been, across the room, but never mind. That was good. Welcome to the Gold Pool. My name's Rob. I'm your blacksmith. Now, my job is the purification of gold. Before we can sell or trade gold, we first need to purify it. That means we've got to make it 99.99 or 24 carat. Now, I work for a quartz mining company. This is the third and final stage of mining in Ballarat. It's the longest period, most stable period of mining, also the deepest. We're looking for large walls or reefs of gold-bearing quartz rock. We find those large quantities of rock because we did need thousands or tens of thousands of tonne of rock for our mine from around 300 feet all the way down to well over 3,000 feet. So we're getting a long way into the earth. Once we find those large walls or reefs, they need to be broken down. So they're blasted with black powder into bits like this. Other ones we have sitting around as well. Now, as a miner working underground, you may never feel that allure of gold or get the gold fever like the early diggers did because you don't necessarily see the gold. It's hidden within the rock. But now we have it broken down, we can load it into our ore trucks. Now those trucks are roughly sort of 3/4 the size of this bench. One truck holds half a tonne of quartz rock. So 2 trucks, 1 tonne. And every tonne processed, we'd expect to yield half an ounce, around 15 grams of gold. So you think about your 2 ore trucks, that's a big volume of rock. Then you think about the tip of your little finger, because that's how much gold you're going to get. So you did need to be efficient. Now once those trucks are loaded, they're brought to the surface, taken and dumped into the building next door to us, the battery house. In there we have large steel hammers. They pound up and down on the rock. Within a short time, they've turned it into just basically sand. That's then washed out with water and it becomes a substance known as a slurry. That is flowed over several tables and devices for extracting gold. Primarily we use mercury. Now mercury, that's silver, liquid metal and gold, have an attraction to each other. It's a bit like when you have a magnet close to metal, you can feel that pull, that bond, you can't see it but you know it's there. And we know gold and mercury have the same sort of relationship. So we have our mercury, slurry flows over the top of it, the mercury then draws the gold out of the slurry into itself. So we have it captured. We gather it all up, put it into a big mixing bowl in the battery house where it's just thickened and it becomes a putty-like substance known as an amalgam. And that's finally what comes across here to the smelting works. Now we take that amalgam and we place it into this device here. It's a retort. The lid's sealed on. Goes into a furnace. It doesn't take long for the mercury to boil and then vaporise. So just like boiling a kettle, the steam rises and escapes out the spout. Your mercury vapour behaves the same way. It builds up inside the retort, nowhere to go except down the tube and out the end. It's a simple process. We have the gold and the mercury separated. The gold will still be purified. Was, of course, a little dangerous, a little hazardous. Those vapours, those gases, not good for you. Poisons, in fact. Breathing in. Strange things happen. Haven't noticed? No, good. Doesn't matter. Oh, you go mad. It's not best. Didn't need to solve that problem. We did find a solution. A container, a bucket of water at the end of the tube condenses the gases, turns them back into the mercury. We've got it captured. We can take it back for reuse in the battery gas. From the retort, we take the gold, we place it into this container, a crucible, we put a flux on top. As the gold melts, the impurities melt at a lower temperature and are lighter than the gold. So they work their way through the gold to the top. They mix with the flux and form a crust. It's floating on the gold. When we pour the gold into the mould, the crust simply flows to the bottom of the crucible. It's left behind, it stays in the crucible, and the gold is now purified. And we're all very happy, aren't we? Yeah, of course we are. Well, I am anyway, because I get paid a premium. Blacksmith, gold smelting, that'll be worth money. So of course I'm happy. Now the gold's ready, so if you wish to take photos, good idea to be organised. Because once I start the pour, it will happen quickly. Gold melts at a temperature of 1,064 degrees. It's nice and warm. Gold is also a great conductor. But we just bring gold to melting point and try and carry it from the furnace across to the bench here and pour it. It will start to set or solidify. So I need to take the gold to 1200 degrees, and that just allows the extra time needed. So here we go. Got some nice hot liquid gold. That's 1200 degrees inside there. Nice and warm. Now, as I was saying, gold is a great conductor, but it does need a reason to keep losing heat rapidly. At the moment, the heat's being drawn down through the mould into the sand, and the gold's lost around 300 degrees already. So you can see that heat coming through. Nice and warm. The gold is obviously solid because it's still sitting in a vertical position, otherwise it would be drilled down, arm would fall off, and it wouldn't be funny. It also means though I can knock the gold out on the bench where you'll see it.
Oh wow.
So a nice solid bar of gold. If you were tempted, don't be. It is a bit hot to handle. As you can see. Now sitting here on the bench there is now nothing drawing the heat away from this gold rapidly. So we'll leave it where it is. It would now take 2 to 3 hours for this gold to cool to a temperature where you can pick it up and handle it. And of course, we don't have 2 to 3 hours. So that means I'm going to speed things up a bit. Alright, so the gold was 1200, dropped to 900. 900 into the tub, of course it now has a reason to lose that heat rapidly, therefore it's had 30 seconds, ready to pick up. Alright, almost ready. Oh, there you go. Ready to go. There you go, finished product. That's what we all strive hard for in this quartz mining company. And what I'm holding here is 3 kilos, around 100 ounces. 99.99% pure gold. And today, what's sitting in this small, easily transportable, don't get any ideas, little package? 167,000 approximately Australian dollars sitting there. Not too bad at all, really. What on earth? It is, not too bad at all. See ya. Oh, we're getting up. There's too many people here. Now it's usually about this time I ask for someone small, a child, to what? Volunteer to do something special. Young miss right here. I'll give you your instructions when you get out the front. So, unique one-off Sovreign Hill experience. That is one, isn't it, young miss? Indeed it is. So when everybody leaves, I'm going to bring you in. The brooms, the brush pan, the shovel, the duster, the mop. And you can start cleaning. So if you start at the brick wall there, work your way around, your class will come back and pick you up at the end of the day. Okay. So for a reward, you can hold gold. So I think you're turning around and get an image, which you're not. Yourself down here. That way. So they can see it. And that way, so they can see the gold. 40% heavier than lead. So significantly heavier than lead. So I'll just take it from the side. Thank you, miss.
This isn't a black switch.
Right, over this side.
One of us goes up. Kurt, if I go up, Kurt's going to hold the camera. Okay? Like, whoever goes. Why would you like a Legion if you're like the flash? It comes on so you can see. It just gives them a light. We'll take a few photos. Do I have to face that way though? No, it faces this way.
Right, you go from the far side. Young miss.
Oh, Nina!
Come on, Nina, you wreck it all.
Nina, turn around.
Turn around so they can get your image, young miss. No giving it to anyone. Remember? Even though we do like to pretend 19th century here at Sovreign Hill, in fact we know we're in the 21st century and we are capturing all your images while you're in here. Your faces are on file. We can hunt you down if you misbehave.
Yeah, Jack.
Thank you very much. We better have... Yeah, alright.
It's really heavy. I've done it before. I did it when we were last time at Holden. Do you remember that? Thank you, Kurt. Do you remember how I did it? Yeah.
You don't want broken toes, so don't drop it. Now, another idea, children, so you can imagine how heavy gold is. Children, a cubic metre, if it was made of gold, weighs over 19 tonnes. It is very heavy. Now, I think we should finish off with one adult. Man. Rocks if you like.
Yes. That's the most she's ever had in her hands.
Thank you. Alright, so it's a marvellous material, we all know that. Used in modern electronic equipment for its conductivity, doesn't rust, doesn't corrode, acid resistant. You can put this away forever basically, virtually indestructible. Very malleable, pliable, one of its other properties. We can take 1 ounce of gold, draw it into a thread, it will go 100 kilometres. So that piece there you can draw out into a thread 1,000 kilometres long. Very steady. It's done its job, therefore, go somewhere where it can be seen, no longer touched. So that does conclude the gold pour here at the Smelling Works. Thanks for coming. Hope you're having a good time.